we go now.
If you are ready to live a life of abundance, if you are ready to best your best, then come to the edge. Because if you are not living your life on the edge, you are taking up far too much room.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the edge. I'm your host, Eric Brown, and in studio, Mr. Mike Jones.
Hey man, what's up?
Oh man, living the life. So listen, on the last podcast, you talked about the difference between a plan A and people who plan a plan B. So what would you say to them, though, when a circumstance arises? So I'm in the car rental industry, and we may have a day where there's a couple hundred returns, and we may have a team member who's out sick or ill that calls out and really puts us behind. So aren't I well-versed to get a plan B and have someone in that place of that person?
Well, we talked a lot about that in the last podcast, but here is the icing on the cake. You have your plan A and a circumstance like Eric was just talking about comes up. So what do I do in that situation when a circumstance that I have no control over emerges and creates an obstacle for me? Well, the way that we love to teach it and the way that I love to watch people embrace this is, yes, you have your plan. Execute your plan with a focus on succeeding. But you must be aware that there are going to be circumstances that are going to arise that you have no control over. Our plan of action, once we execute our plan A, is to do whatever it takes, to just do WIT, W-I-T. Now, I need you to understand this. There are going to come times when doing whatever it takes to be successful is the only plan of action that you will need. So I want you to write that down. Plan of action. Do whatever it takes to keep this moving forward.
So, Mike, in the past, I've put together a to-do list, a list of things that I need to accomplish in the day or the week. Is that smart in the planning session then?
Well, I believe that most people have a to-do list, and I would encourage you. In fact, I would tell you, if you want to be more successful, that you need to start every day with a list. However, here at Discover Leadership Training, we do not call it a to-do list. We call it a WIT list, W-I-T, whatever it takes. So I absolutely got to identify all of the things that I must do today in order for me to move the needle in a positive way regarding my plan A. So when I'm focused on getting those things done, the more I bring them to visibility for myself, the more I put them into a form that I can see them, that I can taste them, that I can touch them, I am going to be more focused and I'm going to feel more accomplished as I check those things off of my WIT list every day. So I would encourage you, when you start your day, you know what your plan is. You know what the big picture looks like, but there are going to be incremental steps that you need to take today in order for you to move that needle in a positive way, in order for you to trend toward the success that you are focused on.
So that's some smoking hot shit for sure. My question though, how do you prioritize that list?
Well, that is something that's going to be very personal for you to figure out in the context of this conversation. But in my WIT list, I have things that are have to do, things that must get done today, and need to do things. And then there are some things that it would be nice to get done. I start with the toughest thing first. Let's take a moment to dissect that for a second, because quite often we put the toughest stuff off until the end when we don't have the same energy, we don't have the same resources, we don't have the same focus, And we either then begin to procrastinate on those things or we put them off completely. Whatever the toughest thing is that you need to accomplish today, do the toughest thing first, because that's when you have the most resources of energy, the most resources of focus. Do the toughest things first. So I don't know how you need to prioritize your list, but I do know this. Whatever the toughest thing is on that list, make it the priority for you to get it done, because you will not need the same amount of focus and energy to do those things that are not that tough for you to get done.
Okay, so you've got your do WIT list and you prioritize the toughest stuff first. Let's say, though, that you're not able to get to everything that you want. What would be your coaching to the audience?
Yeah, whatever that stuff is that you can't get to that's on your list today, it immediately needs to move over to the next day. Because again, the one thing that we must be aware of is that there are circumstances that will occur that are not going to be within your control. So you have got to take the time to be aware that you have got to just be willing to do whatever it takes to get as much of that done today as you plan to do.
Some smoking hot shit, as always. And if there is a failure, where would your coaching be about being kind to yourself?
Well, I mean, you said it, bro. I mean, that's it. One of the things that many of you have got to learn how to do is to be kind with yourself, recognizing that winners lose more often than losers lose. It is not going to matter how much you get done today. It's going to matter how you played the game. So stay focused on a positive outcome. Give your 100%. Complete that WIT list and stay focused on your plan A.
Man, Mike, that is really an awesome message. Thanks for delivering it today, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we want to say this out loud, and you'll know how we feel about this. If you are not living your life on the edge, you are taking up far too much room.
Here we go now.